And welcome back to Flashback Comics in Woodbridge, Virginia, ladies and gentlemen. I am Troy David Phillips, and today I am going to talk about the comics and the movies as they relate to Batman v Superman. Very recently saw the film, and I am filled to bursting with this film. So many good things, so many points that we kind of missed out on. I'm going to give it a little bit of a critical analysis. The movie does draw from comics. It draws from a lot of different comic stories. The central conflict itself, drawn from Frank Miller's Batman The Dark Knight Returns storyline, which culminates in Batman fighting Superman in the fourth and final issue. That fight is actually intended to be Frank Miller's commentary. Batman represents a viewpoint, philosophical viewpoint, and Superman represents authoritarianism. It was the 1980s, and Reaganism was a thing at the time, and Superman was intended to be more inimical of that. So the two characters battle not to demonstrate the two characters fighting, but Frank Miller's commentary on these two philosophical viewpoints in conflict. Through the years, as we go forward, we have seen a great philosophical divide between how Batman wages his one-man war on crime and how Superman fights his never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. That's not necessarily well emphasized in the film. Batman's viewpoints and Superman's viewpoints are not brought into conflict anywhere near as sharply. But we do get some fantastic acting from Ben Affleck. Don't let the critics dissuade you. Ben Affleck has a very good command of both Bruce Wayne and Batman, with the understanding that these are two characters who share the same body. Henry Cavill's Superman and his Clark Kent, also brilliantly handled by the actor. You get to see the disguise, the image of Clark Kent as kind of an everyman, and then Superman, who wants to do the right thing, who wants to help us, and despite the fact that he isn't very well trusted, despite the fact that he's a very controversial figure, as we see, he continues to strive to do his best to help people, and he never wants to turn away from helping people no matter what. I think this gets underscored, and Superman is able to bring Batman around to seeing his viewpoints. Batman and Superman and Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman come together to battle Lex Luthor's nightmarish creation, Doomsday. But his Doomsday is also really one part Bizarro. You see the melding of Kryptonian DNA with Lex Luthor's blood to create this humanoid monstrosity with super strength and heat vision, and we get moments which are drawn from the Superman, the Death of Superman storyline from the 1990s. Beautifully done in Superman number 75. There is, yes, a doomsday of sorts. We do get to see Wonder Woman both as Diana Prince, and she has some interactions with Bruce Wayne that are very well done, and she gets battle scenes. She gets to fight the Doomsday creature and demonstrate that she is, in fact, a very capable warrior, that she can get right in there and slug it out with a menace capable of taking it to a Kryptonian. Wonder Woman has these epic, well, really mythic Greek mythology trappings. They're her origins, which lend her to being a very, very powerful character. You get the heroism of Superman, where he takes the kryptonite spear and rams it through Doomsday. Sorry for the spoilers in advance, but I'm hoping by now you have all gotten to see this film. The scene itself is handled quite well. From a critical standpoint, I would have to say something not handled quite as well would be the introduction of the characters that will form the basis of the Justice League. Their introduction in the film kind of takes time, and it takes focus away from the central Batman v Superman. I was also not as enthusiastic about the Jesse Eisenberg portrayal of Lex Luthor. I was really looking for a different type of Luthor, I guess, a different capture of the character. But he is, in fact, scientifically gifted. He is, in fact, manipulative, tactical. He does play things out the way he wants them to go, or at least attempts to set them up the way he wants them to go. And the final moments of the film, we see, I believe, the formation of the Lex Luthor that we will be much more familiar with from his comic incarnations, right down to the bald head. Again, sorry for the spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. Overall, I feel like the film was a good film. I did enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing it again. There were, again, things that weren't handled quite as well. I would have to give the film a solid B+ if I were a teacher grading a project. But I think that if you go and see this film, if you haven't already done so, you are also going to enjoy it. And you're going to enjoy it for several different reasons, different levels. Again, I feel like Zack Snyder did a good job. Perhaps a better job could have been done, but I'm not a director. What do I know? The actors handled their roles quite well, and the setup for DC introducing a Justice League is very solidly in place. Now, before we get to see a Justice League, we're going to see a Suicide Squad, and I am actually looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing the darker side of the DC Universe, if you can believe that there's a darker side to what you've already seen. Batman's nightmarish views, that's pretty dark. But hey, again, see the film, enjoy the film, pick up the comics. You're going to look for things like Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, which has been collected into trade paperback and hardcover form, and also done in animated film format. You can actually buy the 30th anniversary reprinting of the hardcover with DVD, Blu-ray, and digital download. You're also going to look for things like John Byrne's Man of Steel from 1986. You're going to look for things like World's Finest, beautifully illustrated by Steve Rude. You're going to look for classic World's Finest comics from the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and on. You're going to look for a lot of places like the Superman-Batman series and the current Batman-Superman series, which do underscore the philosophical differences between the two characters, but it shows them working together despite their differences. Both characters have undergone a lot over just the last couple of years. If you've been following Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's Batman, you have seen up to this point the return of Bruce Wayne to his costumed role. And Superman, you've seen him battling the machinations of Vandal Savage, and now Superman has had his triumphant moment as well. And look forward to the DC Comics Rebirth coming very, very soon. Just 2 more issues to go here, in issue 51 and then issue 52, and then wham, zap, we're going to get the DC Rebirth. So, taking a deep breath, taking a step back, and getting ready to dive in. I'm Troy David Phillips. This is Flashback Comics. Thanks for joining me.